into 10 messages. So in the recent trailer we got to see gameplay of the cameras, which seems to be required in a FNAF game at this point. However, in these screens we have multiple tabs, including cameras, an odd missions tab, and finally the messages tab. Now, why do we have messages? This seems like such an obscure tab to have on this watch. Why, if we are the only human other than Vanny in this pizzaplex at night, are we able to get messages? Who is going to be sending these messages? Who are they going to be from? How is it possible? Are we going to be getting messages from like the animatronics, or is someone working with us? Are we going to be able to talk to Vanny, or I guess Vanessa? Are we going to be unaware that Vanessa is Vanny? Because while it may be obvious to us, we wouldn't really know about it in the in-game world as Gregory. Since, I mean, to be fair, in the game we don't have things like source code and teaser images that we can decode the original names of in order to learn the true story. So, what's the deal here? In a 9 animatronic Slayer, there seems to be some form of animatronic serial killer on the loose in these games, at least if we look at how we interact with Chica at the beginning of the video. And we know this takes place in the game and not just a cinematic, since the beginning of the trailer says that these clips are part gameplay and part in-game cinematic, so this moment does happen in-game. Whether it's at the beginning of the game or at the end is an entirely different question, but it's still possible nonetheless. A giant pipe just so happening to fall on Chica as she's about to tear you a whole new butthole? Yeah, that's certainly a coincidence and not something that was planned at all. However, this doesn't really have to be something that's out of the blue. What if we instead, as a part of a plan, lured Chica to that location so that someone else, possibly Vanessa, could push the pipe over and crush her, in an attempt to stop her from hurting anyone after Vanessa is saved and reveals that Chica is being controlled by Afton? An innate system override. Now, I made a mistake in my last video about what Sundance and Moondrop says. The Sun version of the animatronic doesn't say that he wants you, he instead says that he warned you. What did he warn us about, you ask? That's a theory for another day. However, what Moondrop says seems to have caught my eye, since after changing to their Moon variant they say, quote, "you naughty boy." And while that could just be a Mommy King thing, I'm thinking there's something else going on there. Because even in the custom captions that PlayStation added to make sure that we hear the right thing, Moondrop's line isn't included. Yet things like "I'm trapped" at the beginning of the trailer that even auto-generated captions couldn't pick up are included. So what's the deal? Could this be maybe a form of system override, or a way of showing that Moondrop, and by consequence the animatronics controlled by Afton, can get around the barriers of other media, since Afton is after all sentient code? Or is William Afton truly on YouTube? That's something I proposed after Glitch Trap appeared in the Freddy and Friends episode 4 glitches, and if Moondrop, who is most likely controlled by Afton, is able to subvert the YouTube systems in order to stay hidden, maybe there's something more there. And it's 7 zombie virus. Now we know that William is infecting some of the animatronics with his form of the Afton virus. His whole, "oh yeah, I'm a sentient code" thing, while yes is indeed a computer virus, what if it causes the animatronics to act in other ways? For example, what if it makes the animatronics act like zombies as some form of robotic zombie virus? I mean, at this point, it's not like it's out of the realm of possibility for FNAF. These goddamn animatronics can do whatever the freaking hell they want to, and then we just have to go with it. So them being revealed as some freaks of nature that after being possessed by Afton have to feed on other animatronic parts wouldn't be very far-fetched. Plus, it would explain what the heck Chica is doing at the beginning of the latest trailer. If Afton is only able to possess one thing at a time, like I suspect, the animatronics would obviously end up being damaged after he was done with them, so there would be some residual bull that they would have to deal with because of him. So maybe it's just that they're turning into freak sweet nuts and bolts and gears. That really grinds my gears. I hate to see Chica like that. And in 6, Freddy and Friends reveal. If Freddy and Friends was supposed to be building to the reveal of Security Breach's release date, then why did they reveal it in the latest PlayStation State of Play trailer? The whole hype surrounding these Freddy and Friends on Tour videos was that we would slowly get the Security Breach release date, one number at a time. But now, what are they building towards? Some think that it would be the same date for Security Breach, but I think that perhaps instead we will actually be getting a Freddy and Friends cartoon, or a Freddy Fazbear themed cartoon. Since someone new is taking over, it could be an easier way to familiarize themselves with the game lore, to help promote the movie, if that's ever actually going to be a thing, and we can get more information on their take of the FNAF story at once. And it would most likely be a higher quality than these Freddy and Friends cartoons, because while yes, the animation is fine, and it's definitely hard to do, and it's meant to pay homage to the classic cartoons, it's literally the same thing over and over again, just with a different setting. These animations are like the Back to the Future movies of FNAF cartoons. Like, to be fair, I do love Back to the Future, but they do the same thing over and over again. Halfway through into number 5, Nightmare. What the absolute living hell are those mini nightmare puppet looking things at the end of the recent trailer, and that were actually the first glitch in Freddy and Friends? These little animatronics look very close to what a nightmare mini arena would look like to me, but my question is, what the hell are these things doing here? The existence of a nightmare looking animatronic seems to suggest that perhaps this game is a nightmare a la FNAF 4, which could explain a lot if this is in fact a nightmare inside of Vanessa's head while she's fighting her dual personality or fighting William's influence. It could explain why we see both Vanny and Vanessa in the game, and plenty of other things as well. It seems like a cop-out, but this could be Scott's way of saying that FNAF 4 was in fact a dream, if that's the route that he wants the series to take in the future, with a new owner having the IP now and taking charge seemingly after this game. But what do you think? Do you think that Security Breach could be a dream in Vanny's head, or is that just a little too much at this point? Let me know down below. See, like, I wouldn't say that anything is too much for FNAF except for Dream Theory. At this point, that's probably a little much. And at 4, Music Man Spider. Music Man was introduced in FNAF 6 and really was only present in that game, as well as having a minor role in Ultimate Custom Night. But this time around, he seems to have gotten a huge promotion. And when I say huge, I mean it. In just a couple seconds of the trailer, we can see a giant Music Man animatronic crawling out of what seems to be a sewer pipe. My question is, what gives? Why is this Music Man Spider created? Why were they created, and what purpose do they serve? Is it like a functional animatronic that gives people rides while they cry and scream about being on the back of a giant spider, which would be totally understandable, by the way? Or is it just like an animatronic test subject built by Vanny to see how big an animatronic could be so that she could control it with the virus? I mean, like, we've never seen an animatronic this big before. So could this just be a dream? Or like a nightmare version of the Music Man? Because thanks to this, we now have confirmation that it has to take place after FNAF 6, which only makes it more confusing with FNAF AR, because the dates on the emails correspond to the date you're playing the game. And I know that that's why it says 2020 and 2021, but like, what the hell? Getting close to the end in at number 3, Intentional. What if all these horrific moments were actually intentional? What if trapping Gregory inside the restaurant was done on purpose? I mean that they know something is going down here, right? Based off the final waiver that we're told we must fill out when leaving after we've been given complimentary cups. Quote, please make your way to the front of the building where you will be given novelty glasses, a voucher for 1 free soda refill, and where you will sign a legal disclaimer releasing us of all liability for anything that might have happened during your visit. And by the way, really? 1 free soda refill? Shouldn't you just, you have to pay to get into the actual pizza place, right? I'd assume so. So like, why can't I just get infinite refills? Like, soda is probably one of the most marked up things in restaurant history. So like, just let me have free refills, bro. Anyway, that line also plays over Vanny dancing up to us from down the hall during this final line. And this company, being made in part by Afton, I think it's safe to say that they know more than they're letting on here. Especially since in FNAF AR they're shipping out animatronics that are meant to be copies of William's body in the Springtrap suit. And later on, while William is in the hospital, the nurses know he's a bad person. So Fazbear Inc. would have to know who was under those ears, right? I mean, at least I'd hope so, if they're not incompetent, but then again, they definitely are. They would especially know if those 8-bit minigames are the games that Scott made in universe, right? Since we see the spring locking happen during one of those games in FNAF 3. Just saying. Penultimately, in at number 2, good guys. Are the animatronics actually going to be the good guys this time around? At least until they end up getting corrupted. I mean, if they do get corrupted. It wouldn't be unlike Scott to make a whole separate story for if we somehow prevent the animatronics from getting corrupted, then that leads to the good ending. However, we only see Freddy helping us, but could it be that at the beginning, the animatronics are actually helping us get out of the Pizzaplex? I mean, the Sunrise animatronic said that he warned us, right? Well, warned us about what? The virus? What would happen if Vanny got these animatronics? He says this just as his night persona Moondrop takes over, and he tells us that we've been a naughty boy, so maybe this isn't the nighttime version, but rather a version that he changes into when he finds a criminal in the database, like the FNAF 2 animatronics would have, the toy versions. And the coding just flips it so that Gregory is hostile. I mean, these animatronics do look very toy-like, especially Chica and Freddy. It's certainly a theory, that's for sure. And while it may not be a new idea exactly, it does have some newer evidence thanks to this trailer. And finally, in at number 1, Worn Down. I made sure to point this out in the trailer breakdown video talking about the release date, however I think it deserves its own spot here. Throughout FNAF AR, the various animatronics that you have to deal with will have to deal with some wear and tear. It's part of the job. They get damaged occasionally and you need to repair them, no biggie, it's just a game mechanic. However, that mechanic seems to have been getting added to Security Breach as well, or at least the whole wearing down thing. Since thanks to this latest trailer, we've now seen Chica in a fixed state, a slightly damaged state, a more damaged state, and an even more damaged state than her teaser image from out back. You know, the teaser image from Dako's charity stream where she's missing her beak. Yeah, she gets even more damaged after that in this trailer. She starts losing parts of her arm. This indicates to me that these animatronics are going to have some form of health stat or something similar, since we also seem to think that these animatronics will have different stats, and that these stats will be particular to each animatronic, with Roxy having the highest speed and Montgomery Gator having the highest strength, something that was also showcased in this trailer with him smashing a laser, and something that has been hinted at since the first gameplay trailer in the last State of Play event. Because, you know, Roxy was just pushing on the gate and it wasn't opening, but Montgomery just absolutely tore through it. But what do you think? Will the animatronics wear down, or will we have a little more theorizing to do later on? Be sure you let me know your theories down below.
Number 10, free roam. From the State of Play trailer, we can all be fairly certain the game will be free roam, since we see Gregory's perspective of visiting Chica's playpen, Monty's mini golf, and the main area of the Pizzaplex in that trailer. This will be the first real free roam game from the Five Nights at Freddy series, if this is true, with the closest thing to free roam so far being the Corn Maze minigame from FNAF Help Wanted's DLC. There are also some who say the game kind of looks unfinished, particularly in Chica's playpen, so this could very well just be a developer mode of the map where you can walk around, but I think it's fairly safe to say that this will be a free roam game. Also, I'm not including FNAF World as free roam because it's not a main series game, just the spin-off, and we don't talk about it. Number 9, Security Guard Furry. The security guard from Security Breach has appeared multiple times in the advertising leading up to the main release of the game. She was turned into promo art on Scott's main website, she was turned into a Funko statue for the game along with Vanny, and she appears twice in the State of Play trailer that we saw at the PlayStation event. We're also pretty sure her name is Vanessa. However, the fact that we believe her to be Vanny is still just a theory, not fact yet. Sure, it's a very convincing theory and has plenty of evidence, but it's still just a theory until the game comes out and confirms it. The Funko statue does indicate that the security guard and Vanny are the same person, or at least connected, and the fact that we are hiding from the security guard in the trailer makes it seem even more suspicious. Maybe Gregory ends up finding out about this secret double life she's living, kinda like Hannah Montana. Because, you know, she didn't reveal that every episode. I at first thought we'd be related to the security guard, but I don't think so anymore. Unless we're playing hide and seek with the guard, who could be a relative of some sort. And that's how the game starts out. And a relative. The theory going around after the State of Play trailer is really about who Gregory is. He must be related to someone working at the company, right? Not necessarily the security guard though. I mean, this kid is there after dark, knows where the security room is, and the most damning piece of evidence is the fact that he has a watch that has access to all, or at least the surrounding cameras in the facility, even if those cameras are malfunctioned, at least from what I can assume in the trailer. Who would be able to do that other than the son of someone working at the company, like a security guard or a hacker, and I'm pretty sure this kid isn't a genius Da Vinci Code hacker. How else would he have that much information about the Pizzaplex on his watch? Honestly, he could have swiped it from the security room. Or he could just be the kid of the new owner. At this point, both Henry and William are dead or thought to be, so the IP of Freddy Fazbear and all the others would be out in the public domain or transferred to the next of kin, who would 100% sell off that for any form of profit. Maybe even to the first guy who came asking, since the name of Freddy Fazbear was so tarnished by William Afton, their monster relative, or the partner of their relative, depending on who's next of kin. And at 7, Sun and Moon Man. The second trailer for the games introduced yet another animatronic to the roster in the form of Sun Man. I don't think there is an official name, but if you pay attention you can see the face of the Moon Man present on the Sun guy. So what if this isn't a new animatronic, but rather a new form? The animatronic could have 2 different modes for night and day. It's nothing new. The animatronics have had 2 different modes for day and night since the beginning, hence why they could walk around at night. They were put into just free roam mode, not entertainment mode. So a little color change and a face swap wouldn't be too much to ask from the series. These people have had such advanced technology for when this should have been taking place, so like this isn't really anything that's far-fetched for this series. They literally had robots that could change to look like people. And like, what it was it the 80s or the 90s? And then those sound discs that they came, look, they had phones when in the 20s. And at 6, statistics. The trailer shows us two shots very close together, Monty breaking down a fence gate, but then Roxanne not being able to break it down. This suggests to me that the animatronics will have different stats like D&D characters. They'll each have their own strength, awareness, and speed, with Roxanne probably being the fastest and Monty being the slowest, with Chica being right in the middle. Man, I wish I was stuck in the middle with her. Fantasies aside, the different animatronics will probably have their own strengths and weaknesses that we'll be able to exploit within the game. I'm sure that Roxanne will be able to see in the dark perhaps, or maybe that'll be Montgomery since his area is the mini golf and it's all like neon, you know, you get it. Chica probably has a really good sense of smell, but you can use that to cook or burn something in the kitchen that will distract her and make her rush to stop the burning, because she's all about food and making me happy. I'm sure we'll find out more about this later on, if this is going to be a thing. Halfway through number 5, day and night. Similar to how the Sun Guy animatronic has a day and night mode, the pizzeria could have a day and night mode as well. There could be some form of day-night cycle that occurs, giving us different things to do in both times. The story at night, but hopefully some minigames during the day, like maybe a laser tag minigame or a mini golf and go-kart minigame, you know? This actually makes me excited to think about. We do see clips of the game with both the lights on and off, and if I'm right about the Sun Guy, then we know there is a daytime in game, since the Sun Guy exists. And we only see him during the day, when the lights are on at least. I just want to play laser tag with animatronics, and then I want them to add VR compatibility and let me play laser tag and mini golf with the animatronics in VR. Just please let this happen. Please, Sky Daddy Scott, I'm begging you, let this happen. Tell Steel Wool to add it and I will be eternally grateful. Yes, I called him Sky Daddy Scott. I'm clearly desperate. And at 4, Gregory is the key. Over the middle of the trailer we hear the lines, "You will bring me what I want, and if you fail, both of you will burn." While the emphasis on burn could be an indication of William being the one who talks, since, you know, we got kinda extra crispy at the end of FNAF 6, the thing that needs to be brought could very well be Gregory. We also hear Vanessa in the trailer saying, "I can help get you out of here, you and me, together." Why would we be hiding from her in the trailer as well if she's gonna help us get out? Because she isn't. She's instead going to bring us to Afton in order to sacrifice our life for William's. I mean, I don't think Gregory would willingly be helping William, right? At least if that was Vanessa talking instead of Vanny, since in the first trailer, Vanny also tries to lure us, saying that she has our friends. Oh god, are we gonna play another FNAF game where we as the player die at the end? How many times has this happened now? Like, 12? I don't know. Come on, dude. Don't do this to me again. And at 3, Gregory's the villain. Another potential calamity is that what if Gregory is the villain? We see him exploring the FNAF Pizzaplex, but we also see him exploring while Afton is saying, "You will bring me what I want." What if Gregory isn't the one that needs to be brought, but is the one who is going to bring? What if he's the one who shut off all the security cameras, hence why he was in the room when they were malfunctioning? He has a watch that can see all the cameras. What if that's because Afton gave it to him, or had Vanny give it to him? He's hiding from security because he knows he shouldn't be there. The animatronics are after him because they fixed their security issues that they had in FNAF 2. All this lines up if you think about it in the right way. It's all a matter of perspective. And Gregory could be the name of the crying child, the one that William put back together. Well, I mean, there is currently a theory going around that his name's like Paul or something like that, but you know. And at 2, the Stitch Wraith. At the end of the trailer, we see the arm of some metal figure stretching out from behind a box and trying to claw his way out. This could be seen as many things, one of which is the Stitch Wraith. If you don't know who the Stitch Wraith is, the character was introduced and built up during the epilogues of each of the Fazbear Frights books. A character not too different from Ennard who is basically assembling themselves and has 2 souls possessing him. It's weird, but he's basically another naked endoskeleton that loves killing and collecting body parts. Yeah. We've been waiting to see if he'll be introduced into the games or the game world in some way. We even thought that he could be the main antagonist of Security Breach, and with this arm, it's possible that this is indeed the Stitch Wraith. The sounds that play are clanging and certainly metallic, and that claw is very reminiscent of how we've seen the Stitch Wraith in fan art, since to my knowledge, there has been no official image of the character, unless it's like in those like Funko action figures, where you like collect all the different pieces, like how you had to collect Scrap Baby with the sister location ones. There is, however, another explanation as to who this mysterious arm could be. Finally, in at number 1, Afton's back. The metallic arm, while yes related to the Stitch Wraith, could also be the arm of good old Willie Afton. You know, the one who went cutting up more than just pizza toppings at multiple Fazbear locations. Yeah, that guy. The arm could very well just be the arm of the Scrap Trap suit from FNAF 6. We learned based on the Fazbear Frights books that a man with terrible burns is being kept alive by the soul of a child, one of his victims, forcing the man to be tormented in life. So could it be that William never really died? Or has he been brought out of the world he was in Freddy's Fazbear Entertainment experience? You know, the game we were playtesting and Help Wanted? Was his soul revived and put into an animatronic? Because it should be much more melted if it was actually Scrap Trap. The light reflecting on the arm is purple, suggesting a connection to the purple guy, who we all know by now is William. I and multiple people have said this time and time again, it's William, not Michael. You see, this is William, this is Michael. Let's take this and get it out of there. And that tortured soul, assumingly Cassidy, was keeping him alive after the spring locking from the FNAF 3 cutscenes until he supposedly burned in FNAF 6, releasing his soul until it latched onto a hard drive that was scanned for AI and Help Wanted. Damn. This dude should be a motivational poster for perseverance. So it could be that the item we need to acquire is an endoskeleton for him to inhabit, and that Vanny will be able to bring him home, and then probably be killed once she does. But seriously though, where's the motivational poster of
Number 10. Pizzeria Simulator animatronics come out to play. We've already gotten a look at a terrifying version of Music Man who will appear in Security Breach, referred to here as Giant Music Man. But who else could we potentially see appear from the massive roster of Pizzeria Simulator animatronics? The fact that Music Man appears at all seems to imply that any or all of the rest of the animatronics from that game could show up anywhere or anytime. To be honest, it would kind of make a lot of sense if they did. After all, the Mega Pizzaplex is, well, mega. It's huge. And to keep it as fun as can be, you would need lots of different animatronics to entertain the families who come to visit. Does this mean perhaps even that the Glamrock animatronics may not even be the only performers? Who's to say there aren't smaller stages located around the Pizzaplex where we might get to encounter such amazing bands as the more classic Freddy and Friends and the mediocre Melodies? You know you want to meet Mr. Hippo. You know you want to. Number 9. Toy equals Glamrock? This is a theory that of course came from one of our favorite channels, Game Theorists. Over there, MatPat suggested that the Glamrock animatronics we see in Security Breach may actually be none other than toy animatronics in disguise. He cited similarities between Toy Chica with her lost beak and Glamrock Chica with her missing beak in the trailer. If the Glamrock animatronics really are toy animatronics, what would this mean? Possibly that these animatronics actually have a closer connection to William than we thought, which of course would be pretty terrifying. The toy animatronics, I believe, were seemingly used as spare parts and then inevitably ended up scrapped, but what if instead they were really transformed into the Glamrocks? This would mean that there is the potential that their programming was created and tampered with by Afton himself, meaning they could be putting anyone they came into contact with in danger. Unhinged animatronics. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more Security Breach lists as we gear up for this game, it is coming soon. Be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8. Save Vanessa. Instead of Vanessa saving Gregory, what if we, as Gregory, have to save Vanessa? At the beginning of the newest Security Breach trailer, we hear a voice that sounds like it could belong to Vanessa, potentially, saying, "I'm trapped." Of course, it could also be Vanny's voice, but based on what we think we know of her, I mean, this wouldn't make a lot of sense. Vanessa, however, would make sense as a security guard who perhaps is also struggling with her own identity, as many of us believe that Vanessa Vanessa and Vanny are one and the same, with Vanny being Vanessa's darker persona that is taking hold of or controlling her. If this is the case, it could be possible that Vanessa starts out as good, but is taken over by Vanny, and then needs to be set free again, as she struggles to fight for control over her own body, and fights to resist the likely influence of William Afton. Number 7. Return of Circus Baby. I have talked about this idea before due to the fact the voice we heard in the first Security Breach gameplay trailer sounded a lot like Heather Masters' intonation to me. I don't know about you, but if you put those two voices side by side, at least for me, it really sounds like Heather, but using just a lower register in her voice. This potential connection to me either means that Circus Baby could somehow be returning through a connection to Vanessa, who I believe is speaking here just based on what she's saying, how it sounds like she wants to help Gregory escape, or that Vanessa will in some way at least end up being a traitor similar to Circus Baby's role in Sister Location. Of course, if this is Heather's voice, there is always the possibility that she is simply voicing a completely new character with no connection to anyone else or anything that has come previously, as voice actors are warned to do. But hey, this is just a theory, a voiceover theory. We don't really know yet, because nothing has been solidified. But for a while, it did say on IMDb that Heather Masters was going to be a voice actor in the game. It's not there anymore, but it was there for a time. Number 6. Vanessa Afton. Who is Vanessa really, and is she connected to the Afton family? This is a question many of us have been asking ourselves ever since we got a glimpse at what she looks like. Vanessa noticeably has green eyes and blonde hair, making her similar in appearance to an Afton family member we've already seen, Elizabeth. Her appearance has caused some fans to theorize that she might then be related to William, either another daughter of his or some other more distant relative. Some even believe she could be some kind of alternate version of Elizabeth or somehow be connected to her, or that she could instead be going in a very different direction and be the fabled Mrs. Afton, the wife of William and mother of his children. Of course, the whole year that this game is supposed to be set in seems to imply that this would be highly unlikely, just based on what we know of the timeline, slash possibly impossible. But just because we think we know when the game is set, just because we've been led to believe that it takes place in modern day, it doesn't mean that we're necessarily right here. So there is still a small chance that Vanessa could be related to or the romantic partner of William Afton, or is in some way connected to the Afton family tree. Number 5. Save Chica. Alternatively, the "I'm trapped" we hear at the beginning of the trailer could be coming from an animatronic. Right after this bit of dialogue is uttered, we see Chica, who seems to appear prominently in the trailer in various stages of disrepair. At the beginning, it almost looks like Chica is struggling to fight against something. Now, I theorize that Chica might be one of the animatronics possessed by William Afton, infected by a virus that is Glitch Trap. In this game, it could be that the animatronics are not inherently bad, but are instead basically victims themselves of Glitch Trap's virus, and that as new animatronics, they were simply created to entertain initially, not having been influenced by William's design since he has been gone for so long, and not influenced by any spirits, as you know, they weren't involved in any of the killings, being new animatronics. Perhaps as Gregory, we will have to rid the animatronics of the virus, which affects most, but obviously not all of them, as Freddy appears to at least be pretty friendly towards us, at least initially. Or at some point, maybe we free him from the virus? Number 4. Vanessa/Vanny. Another theory involving Vanessa and Vanny is that they are one and the same character. This is a pretty popular theory on the internet and comes from a Funko figure featuring both of them together on the same platform. This figure also shows Vanny holding her finger in front of her mouth as though she's trying to silence the onlooker, hinting that she has a secret. Because Vanessa is also present behind her, it seems to suggest that Vanny's secret is that she is Vanessa herself. Either that or maybe she's hunting Vanessa, but yeah. The other reasoning as to why people seem to think they are one and the same comes from emails found in Special Delivery. These emails seem to suggest that a worker of Fazbear's, nicknamed Ness, has 2 different personalities residing within her, and that she was transferred to security recently. People think this Ness is actually short for Vanessa from the games, and that the emails are implying that Vanessa suffers from a dissociative identity disorder, where her other personality is actually none other than the villainous Vanny. Number 3. Vanny kills. To start the game off, I think something must have happened to Gregory's parents to make the game actually make sense. This either means they have become indisposed, left Gregory there on purpose, or more horrifyingly, have become the victim of Vanny. It's possible that the promo material we've seen of Vanny with a knife, where it says obey underneath, is really showing off Vanny and her murder weapon, and that the reason Gregory inherently runs from her is because he saw her murder his parents, or kidnap them or something. Now, why did Vanny do this? Probably because Glitchtrap made her do it. Why did he influence her to do it though? I mean, this is Glitchtrap, William Afton we're talking about. He could have made this order to get those parents out of the way because he needs Gregory as some sort of sacrifice, or maybe he needed Gregory's parents as sacrifices, or it could just be because, well, he's William Afton and he's a notoriously bad guy who loves killing for, as of yet, some pretty mysterious reasons. Don't really know, so he could just be like, kill them because I'm William Afton. Number 2, Vanessa is mom. So we've already talked about the very rocky yet somewhat popular theory that Vanessa is the mother of William's children, or his lover in some way. But what if she isn't the mother of his kids, but instead is the mother of Gregory? Honestly, she seems like she might be a little young to be the mother of anyone in my opinion, but although we think we know her age based on information gained from emails found in special delivery, this doesn't mean that we're right. Instead of Gregory's parents being killed, what if the reason we don't see them searching for him is because they were already there all along? What if Vanessa is Gregory's mom? Maybe he gets to hang out at the Mega Pizzaplex while his mom works, or she had to bring him with her that day because her babysitter canceled or something like that. In that case, it's possible that something went wrong and then the two got separated. Vanessa is trying to find Gregory and help him escape the animatronics, many of which have started to go pretty haywire. Now, why would they suddenly go haywire? Well, I've got a theory for that too. Number 1, security breach. Something we seem to have moved away from, but that I think is still very important when it comes to theories involving this game, is understanding the title fully. In Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, the name was meant to have a double meaning. It was a game about a sister location of Freddy's, Circus Baby's entertainment and rental, but it was also a place where Michael's sister seemed to be located, or more specifically, trapped. Circus Baby was the prison for Elizabeth's soul, and Michael seemed to have been sent there or drawn there with the intention of freeing his little sister's spirit. So when it comes to security breach, what could this title mean? Well, in one sense it could mean that someone has broken through the physical security of the Mega Pizzaplex, or it could mean, or also mean, that they have broken through digitally. It seems likely that security breach will also have some kind of double meaning, implying that Glitchtrap has broken through the firewall of the Pizzaplex and is taking control of it to wreak havoc on its visitors and staff. It could also refer to the security team themselves being breached in some way, perhaps referring to the fact that Vanessa will be overtaken by her potentially alternate personality Vanny, as we've speculated. Or it could even imply that Gregory maybe is the one breaching security. I mean, he isn't supposed to be there, so maybe there's that. Number 10, be our guest. We are used to animatronics being more in a performance role when it comes to their presence at the various FNAF restaurants and properties. But what if instead they're in a more active role throughout the Mega Pizzaplex? This is a theory based on the fact that Bonnie doesn't actually appear as an active animatronic in the trailer, but does appear as a mascot of the bowling alley named Bonnie's Bowl. And it also comes from evidence of there being multiple new animatronics that seemingly aren't part of the main show cast. What if all these extra animatronics aren't performers, but instead are programmed to help you in various interactions, serving guests and possibly making sure that they're having fun at the Pizzaplex, even while not necessarily performing for them? That would likely create more problems for you attempting to evade them at night. 1980 something? Would this be scary? I don't know. I guess if you being misled dramatically is scary to you. I think that's a legitimate fear though for FNAF fans. After all, we think we have it all figured out, that we've followed the clues successfully, connected all the dots, and then it couldn't turn out to be wrong. Well, it's pretty embarrassing. And it's scary to be wrong and be embarrassed. However, that's why we should also consider the possibility that security breach doesn't actually take place in the modern day, like we've been led to believe, but instead takes place in the time it appears to be in from a visual standpoint, the 80s. If this is true, it means so many of the clues that we thought applied here don't, and could even mean that parts of the main plot we thought we knew were actually wrong. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more security breach theories as we count down the days till this game will be released. I'm thinking December. Then be sure to let us know you love this list by giving it a thumbs up. Number 8. Time travel. One of the scariest theories for us content creators who talk about FNAF nonstop is time travel being introduced in Security Breach. This would add a whole other layer of complication to the world of FNAF, but then again, it could also help to clean up some potential plot holes in regards to our timeline. It's theorized that time travel could be introduced because of the presence of the ball pit in the trailer. Now, the only other ball pit that seems to have shown up or be relevant at all within this franchise is the one from the Fazbear Frights books, which of course was a time traveling ball pit. So while that doesn't mean that the one seen in the game will be a time traveling ball pit, it does make a lot of people wonder. I'm just saying, you see a ball pit, the only other one you've seen is a time traveling ball pit. Odds are good, we're gonna time travel in it. Number 7, it's complicated. One theory fans have is that regardless of time travel being around or not, lore will get a heck of a lot more complex with this new installment of the franchise. After all, this seems like it will be the biggest game yet, so we are expecting a lot of twists and turns throughout it. There's also the fact that at this point the lore is already so complex, with 9 survival horror games already existing and involving a collection of mainstay characters. It seems as though every time we are ready to retire someone or end the story, there is another addition that comes along. Hopefully this game will learn from that and instead give us some kind of partial ending and new beginning so that it can stop being so confusing as to who is alive and who is dead for reals. So a lot of people that we think are alive or that we think are dead, and then later we're like, oh, actually they lived. Okay. Number 6, hide inside. Based on our experiences in Sister Location, the idea of this theory being true is all in all pretty terrifying. The idea here is of course that we as the player, acting as the protagonist in the game, are forced to, or for some reason choose to, move around the Mega Pizzaplex but inside an animatronic. Basically wearing an animatronic suit, which I guess must be a spring lock suit or some other wearable variation. After all, if this game does take place in the future or the present day, you'd think they might have updated that tech a little bit, considering, you know, the awful track record that spring lock suits have had in the history of Fazbear Entertainment and beyond that. The theory that we might be actually wearing a suit comes from stills and shots which feature the inside of what looks like to be Montgomery Gator's mouth, where the angle seems to imply that our view is from within the suit and not just, you know, us looking through a mouth-shaped part of the decor in the Pizzaplex. Although that's another theory. Is it decor or is it a suit? You decide. Number 5, Obey. One theory when it comes to the Obey poster featuring Vanny is that Vanny is actually trying to urge Gregory to obey her, and that's what's happening in the poster and in the game. The game starts off with us playing as Gregory, witnessing something really bad happening, perhaps Vanny killing someone. We go to run away, but Vanny urges us instead to come to her, and hence the chase begins. However, it is possible that Obey could pertain to Vanny's role in the game, in the sense that she is serving someone else and is being forced to obey their orders. It could symbolize that Vanny is the one who needs to be or will be obedient in the game in terms of her role as a follower of Glitchtrap, aka William Afton. Number 4, Return of Glitchtrap. This is something pretty much everyone thinks is going to happen. And I mean, if you don't think it's going to happen, please make your thoughts and reasoning known in the comments below. I would honestly love to hear from you. For the most part though, I think many of us are expecting Glitchtrap to show up in some form. This is because of the narrative from Help Wanted and his appearance there. It also seems like Vanny, his reluctant follower, will be making an appearance based on the trailer. So a lot of us are theorizing where there is a Vanny, there is a Glitchtrap, and that Vanny will be working for Glitchtrap in this game, and perhaps less reluctantly this time around. Number 3, Bonnie and Freddy and Friends. Bonnie is the main character advertised on the thumbnail for Freddy and Friends on Tour Episode 3. If you haven't seen these short, less than 2-minute cartoon episodes up on Steel Wool Studios' YouTube channel, then you need to go do that. They are repetitive and ridiculous, but they also have tons of clues for those eager FNAF fans who are awaiting Security Breach's release. Like me, like you. In episode 3, we get purple glitches that appear to resemble the Purple Man at first glance. However, the fact that these glitches seem to primarily happen around Bonnie, who also glitches out almost the entire time while communicating, or rather staring at Foxy, seems to indicate that Bonnie, who is notably absent from the trailer, could be the next host animatronic for William Afton, aka Glitchtrap. Number 2. Vanny is Vanessa. One of the most frightening moments for me amidst all the games so far is the one where Circus Baby reveals herself to be a traitor in the scooping room and ends up scooping you. That is some strong nightmare fuel, that whole moment. Likewise, I think one of the scariest things that will happen in this game will be when it is revealed that Vanessa, the security guard seemingly trying to help us escape, is actually Vanny, the person who has been chasing us as Gregory all along. Dun dun dun! The real question is, why the charade? Why the game? Is it that Vanny is a split persona of Vanessa's, and that Vanessa is actually trying to fight against this darker side of herself, whom she has less control over? Despite the fact that this theory is so popular, even if it does prove to be true, there could still be many surprises for us along the way involving this grand reveal. So if you think you've figured this one out, don't think that it's going to detract from the game, because I'm sure there's going to be some things that we didn't figure out even about this theory, if it's right. And it could still be wrong. Number 1. Gregory is Crying Child. Okay, so this one might be a little far out there for some of you, but I also believe that it could very well be true. Honestly, when I figured this one out, I had a little light bulb moment and I was like, could that be a thing? Why not? Anything's possible if you believe. It would take a lot of other theories though to be wrong, but I do think that some of these theories have been teased at by the game and clues we've been given in order to actually throw us off the scent of what's really going on here. That doesn't mean the clues won't still somehow be relevant at some point, but simply that we just don't have all the pieces of the puzzle just yet. So in other words, we're trying to put pieces in where maybe they don't really fit. If the game is set in the 80s like we suspect, it is possible that Crying Child could actually be Gregory. I know some fans think that the name for Crying Child was found in the logbook and that it is Evan, and others have theorized that Cece and Michael are actually one and the same, so Cece is Michael. But what if we're wrong about those theories and those names? What if Gregory is the victim that we know as Crying Child, and we're actually going to witness the beginning of this character's trauma? After all, another interesting indicator is that Toy Chica has no beak here, or well, Glamrock Chica has no beak here. What if this is actually the beginning of Toy Chica? What if Toy Chica wasn't actually made to be Glamrock Chica later on, but it was the other way around? What if Glamrock Chica becomes Toy Chica, and this is where the beak gets lost and then regiven? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are gonna think I'm crazy for saying that, but I think it could be true. And if it does turn out to be true, then hey, come back here and you can be like, you got it right, yay. Little celebrate emojis raining down.